it is.
Well, there it is. Hey, this is a 1 versus 1 game being casted today for you. It is a replay between Lucifer, who is playing as the Teal Undead, versus ReMinD as the orange orc at the top right of the map. And the map is, of course, Secret Valley. So we can see a standard build so far for ReMinD, and looks like fiends for Lucifer. He is pretty good with his fiends. He's good with everything, to be honest. He is an amazing undead player. If you have not seen many undead games and you want to see them, then Lucifer would be a good guy to look up for. When you're looking at replay sites, just type in Lucifer and you'll find quite a few impressive games, no doubt about that. So we got Barracks, Altar of Storms, expect the Blade Master. We'll check up on that in a moment. What's it going to be? Yes, of course. Of course it is. He'd be a fool not to get the Blade Master. Nice close build here with the Burrow and the Altar of Storms. Keep away from those nasty fiends that Lucifer's going to be massing away. Got another Burrow behind the Barracks here. Just try to keep the distance away from the fiends, because if you get a decent chunk of fiends, you can bring down burrows very, very quickly if you can get them all within range. Which is kind of tricky to do sometimes because of the way pathing works and the way buildings block other buildings. It sometimes makes your units try to take the longest route possible to actually get to their burrow, when all they need to do is literally move to like this square box here. You want your fiend to move there, attack that burrows, but sometimes if you attack it from here, they're going to start messing around and going back and forth on themselves, and that's no good. Got a peon scout here. Blade Master's out now, probably looking to get rid of that Scroller Town portal maybe. Fiends coming out for Lucifer. Oh, a Lich. I wonder if he's going to cancel that and go for something else, but I can understand why he's got the Lich, because Frost Armor is incredibly useful. And we can see that Blade Master has actually picked up Circlet of Nobility, and he's going straight on the Ogre Magi. No messing around here. He gets his grunt into position. It isn't trapped or ensnared before it reaches the Ogre Magi. That would hurt him a lot. He might not even be able to creep this up, because the grunt is doing quite a bit of extra damage there, helping that Blade Master get the kill and then get out. So he picks himself up a Potion of Greater Mana. Not the most amazing item, but still better than nothing, I suppose. Good start, and this is a very good map for Orc because of things like this. Fountain of Health. Very useful for big, chunky, healthy units that the Orcs tend to have, like Grunts, and even the Blade Master can do with a bit of healing, being the hero. Looks like he can get away with creeping this spot because the damage he takes is still, even at level 1, so minimal from the actual creeps here. Because of the Fountain of Health, he has more damage than they can do to him. And as you can see, he's actually somewhat slowly healing up here. And he's spreading out the amount of damage he's taking, so that way he can benefit the most from the Fountain of Health. We can see that Lucifer's picked off his nearest green camp and has got himself a Mantle of Intelligence +3. That's very handy. Not too bad. Tech's also started for Lucifer. A little bit earlier for ReMinD as well, his tech. So of course, ReMinD cannot finish off that Drake, but he can walk away victorious with a Circlet of Nobility, which he bought actually. It's the Ring of Protection +2. Not quite so good, that. So he hasn't been quite as lucky as he could be with items. Boost of Speed. The only two decent items he's got so far, Boost of Speed and Circlet of Nobility, have been ones that he's purchased. And he's going straight up onto this Crypt Fiend. He's going to do some good damage there. Force, no doubt. Come on, there it is. Frost Armor being placed on the Fiend by the Lich makes it a lot harder for units to get focused if you're undead. Whenever Orc or any unit hits those units that currently have Frost Armor on them, it means that... Oh, he's actually doing a lot of spread out micro here because he doesn't know where that Blade Master is. He's going to strike any moment. There he goes. He's used a Dust of Appearance. He now knows where the Blade Master is. Grunts. Blade Master's trying to pick off these fiends. Meanwhile, Blade Master in a lot of trouble here, backing off. Frost Armor victorious in this fight. Just about. Ha! You see that Fiend do a little attack move against that Acacia. That was an interesting move. Probably not deliberate. So it does look like Lucifer actually managed to save both of those Fiends. Very, very well done there, because most other players would almost definitely die if they were faced up in that scenario, or at least lose a Fiend or two. But that was really good movements there. Just moving both of them back and forth, ready for when that Blade Master strikes. As soon as he hits, or any unit hits a unit with Frost Armor, their movement speed is slowed down. Their attack speed is slowed down. So if you're moving your Fiend from here to here, you know, when it's already moving, that Blade Master hits it. He's suddenly slowed and he's trying to catch up. That's why you constantly keep your units moving, even with Frost Armor on, when possible. But here, it's clearly very difficult to move those Fiends back. So this is really well played here by ReMinD, taking the opportunity to sneak up into Lucifer's base and pick off the Fiends, which he probably suspected were hanging back until they can heal up a little bit more. So he did manage to get the 2 Fiend kills in the end, and he's still strong enough to run away and not lose anything here. Very, very good move there. Doesn't look like Lucifer's going straight into tier 3. He's not messing around. And the Shadow Hunter has been picked as the second hero for ReMinD here. Bestiary finished. Berserker Strength being researched for the Grunts. They're going to benefit from that. Even more health. Peon Scout being picked off there. Turning into 2 skeletal minions. As we can see for Lucifer here. Just looking around. Does look like ReMinD's going to finish off these creeps. Hopefully he'll get something slightly better. He did get Gloves of Haste, I guess. I don't know where he picked them up from otherwise. Let's find out. We can see that he has been scouted by Lucifer, so Lucifer knows what he's up to. Level 3 on the Blade Master. Yes, it was Gloves of Haste he picked up. That's a much better item for Blade Master. So we've got level 3 Blade Master, 4 Grunts, and a Shadow Hunter, who's got Scroll of Speed and Healing Salves. Blade Master has actually had the Clarity Pot switched over to him from the Shadow Hunter and is now using it. And it's good benefit there because he can Wind Walk afterwards and regain mana, which is going to allow him to do some extra damage versus any units left behind. Lucifer just chilling out in his base here, waiting for the Death Knight to come out. He actually suspected there that the Blade Master was there. That was incredible. Did he hear it? Because the Blade Master was wind walked from miles away, so I don't think he even heard it. That was just a damn good guess. Not quite good enough to pick out the Blade Master whilst he was there, but very close. Slaughterhouse being created here, which is probably why Lucifer used that, because he doesn't want the Blade Master or any units bringing down this slaughterhouse, because this slaughterhouse is key. It's going to produce statues, which in turn are going to then turn into destroyers. So it's really crucial that Lucifer actually gets this slaughterhouse up and running. If ReMinD was able to destroy that, he would do amazing damage to the just the basic build that Lucifer is going for here. ReMinD now backing off a little bit here. He's got Raiders, 2 of them out now. I assume... No, Akodo's coming out. I thought he might be researching Ensnare, but he already has it by the looks of it, so he's going to get a couple of guaranteed kills. A tiny bit of experience here for his Blade Master, who's now pulling back. Is he going to pick up the Orb of Lightning? I think he might be, because he has reached tier 3. He does indeed. Orb of Lightning is a good item here, and I'll tell you why. Frost Armor is absolutely brilliant versus Orc. However, Orb of Lightning, if we have a look at it, its effects, right, adds 5 bonus damage to the attack of a hero when carried. The hero's... Oh, he moved it. The hero's attacks also become ranged when attacking air and have a chance to dispel magic and slow the movement speed of the enemy for 3 seconds. So the key thing there is that it dispels magic, and Frost Armor is a magic ability. It's a spell. So if that Blade Master was attacking this Fiend here that had Frost Armor on it, if he gets the Purge effect, if the Orb of Lightning procs on that Fiend, that means that he removes the Frost Armor effect, and then the rest of his units, once they've run out of the Frost Armor debuff that they might currently have on them, can start hurting that Fiend a lot more easily. So it's a very good item to have, not to mention it will allow him, if he chooses to use it, to creep air units such as that annoying Drake that you just can't pick off early on in the game. And it's quite cheeky that you can creep out that spot early on in the game. It does look like Scroll of Healing being picked up here, Invulnerability Pot. Shadow Hunter sitting with a Greater Healing Potion and a Pendant of Mana. So he's got shite loads of mana for lots of healing ways, which is level 3 now. Lucifer not looking quite so strong. Level 2 Lich, level 2 DK, and it does look like ReMinD is now doing A little bit of an assault here in Lucifer's base. Shades out, looking about. And it does look like this slaughterhouse is going to be picked off. Boneyard being produced at the back. I can only assume that ReMinD can spot that. And it does look like he's coming straight in here for the statue. And in his snare, does this stop the statue from going into destroyer mode? I'm not sure, but perhaps that is his goal. If that runs out, it looks like it might be the case. Oh, and he also gets a nice little devour there. Picking off other fiends with devour and just general damage from his army. He's doing massive damage here. DK about to go down there. Huge, huge focus from ReMinD's army. Only a couple of ghouls here, and the Lich desperately having to run back to their base. ReMinD looking very strong at this point in the game. No upgrades, but 4 grunts. Troll Berserkers getting ready for that air that Lucifer's probably going to be building, which it is. There's a Frostworm, is on his way. It does look like Dust of Appearance has been used by ReMinD, allowing him to pick off that fiend. Blademaster needs to, well, he doesn't need to get back anymore because Invulnerability Pot has been used. Potion of Greater Healing now being swapped over to ReMinD's Blademaster, going to give him a bit more longevity. Fiend being picked off. Blademaster is definitely going to seal the kill here and get that deal done. Or seal the deal, get the kill. You know how it is. Ensnare going down on the Lich. Lich now losing its Frost Armor by the looks of it. But does actually get the kill on the Blademaster with a Frost Nova. Because that ReMinD guy who has that Blademaster must have not used that Greater Healing Potion. I don't think he did. I'll be amazed if he used it and still died. So I guess he didn't expect to be picked off there. And he might just be picked off again with his other hero. The Shadow Hunter going down here. Hex is just slightly too late because the Lich's final shot got off before the Hex went off. Frost Armor being very useful here. DK coming out, supporting the Lich with coils. And Frost Worm now going to town on these Orc units. It's going to be very useful. That freezing breath is going to slow down those units quite humongously. Allowing... Oh, wow. What a position to come back in. Lucifer now looking like he can come back into this game. But ReMinD's trying to deny him the chance. He does still have that Greater Healing Potion. Going very strong here on the Lich. He might want to use another Greater Healing Potion in a moment. Use it. There we go. Lich forced to use Teleport there because he got surrounded. And he didn't manage to get a proc. Unfortunately for ReMinD, would have been really nice if he got a proc there with his Orb of Lightning. Would have been able to force that Lich to TP or perhaps get a kill there a little bit earlier. So we can see that Lucifer actually does look somewhat strong now. All the way through this game I was like, when's Lucifer going to come back? Because surely at some point he's going to have to be able to do something to stay in the game. And that was it right there. ReMinD coming back up here. Meanwhile, cooling down. The cooldown period between that epic fight is taking a chance to do some creep whilst his Shadow Hunter is resurrecting. And he does get Rune Bracers. A very nice item to have when your first is undead that favour their nukes. And this is going to be level 4 Lich very shortly. Oh my goodness. Time of Experience being picked up by the Death Knight. Level 3 Death Knight. Level 4 Lich now. And you've got to remember, 2 Mantle of Intelligence is very good for the Lich. As alongside the Orb of Corruption, that's more Frost Armor, that's more Frost Novas, that's more damage. It's all good. And all the Blademaster has been spotted because the Shades, 2 Shades come in, because he's probably worried that maybe he might lose one, or he could just use one to stay by his army so he knows when the Blademaster is nearby, and the other to scout around for wherever ReMinD's army might be. Skeletons throwing down some amazing DPS on that Voodoo Lounge, which is placed in the middle of the map, allowing ReMinD to recuperate and regenerate his forces quite easily without having to retreat all the way back to his base. Shadow Hunter now coming out to play, picking up lots and lots of clarity pots. Pendant of Energy being dropped whilst he's been using these. Although that's not too necessary. I don't think that has an impact on it. Clarity Pot just works the way it works. It's a flat rate. I don't think it's based on the total amount of mana you have. But either way, he's done what he's done, and Dust of Appearance has been used, picking off the Shade. He rightfully suspected that he was being followed, and this is another reason why Lucifer probably did double up on those Shades. So he always has a Shade pretty much always needs them. Frost armor on these frostworms is going to make them very difficult to pick off because they have 1350 health. That's a lot of health. They are very strong units. You need 3 bats to kill 1 frostworm. So they are very cost efficient units. ReMinD. Suspicious of more shades. Throwing down Dust of Appearance. Blade Master. Oh, now he's coming into a bit of contact here. Ensnare going down on a frostworm. Bats coming into contact with the frostworms. Looks like the headhunters are being focused but not quite picked off. They're saved by a healing wave. Does look like Blade Master's going very strong on this frostworm when possible. But Orc units being picked off with Frost Novas and just general damage from the frostworms. 2 frostworms in a bit of trouble here. Healing waves going off, just trying to keep the Orc army up. Both of these frostworms still alive. This is how long they live for. Shadowhunter throwing down more healing waves. He's still got a couple more healing waves in him just about. Blade Master still going strong on this frostworm. Going to pick it off whilst his Shadowhunter is returning back to base. Just running away. Oh, he almost got the kill on that. Now he gets the kill on the frostworm because it just got slightly denied there by the death coil. And only 1 frostworm remains. Shadowhunter consistently being... Oh my goodness! The damage from that Lich is not to be sniffed at. Definitely not. And a scroll of teleport being used here. I don't think ReMinD's going to get the kill on that frostworm. But yeah, a good little fight there between the 2 players. Hard to say who came out well there. I would give that towards ReMinD, since Lucifer did lose a couple of frostworms, but ReMinD still took a couple of losses himself as well. And you've got to bear in mind that he blew through all of that mana that Shadowhunter has. And Orc, their items from the shops are amazing, but you've got to remember that it costs money to get all your mana back up, which is what he will want to. He'll have to do. Now, Undead also have the same issue, don't get me wrong, but they do potentially have statues, which Lucifer doesn't have in this case. So he isn't any better off, but all I'm saying is that ReMinD, whilst spamming out all of those healing waves just to stay alive, now has to spend, a good 140 to maybe 210 gold and, 2 to 3 clarity pots just to get his mana back up to scratch, so that way the Shadowhunter can be any use in the next fight to come. Oh, Khadga's Pipe of Insight being picked up here by Lucifer's Death Knight. Well, that's your mana problem solved, isn't it? GG. So he's going to have basically Brilliance Aura, which is going to be consistently pumping up that mana for the Lich and the Death Knight. We can see that Clarity Pots being chugged once again by the Shadowhunter, trying to get back up to maximum mana. Also for the Blade Master. Oh my goodness, here comes the bat. 2 bats, it's not going to be enough. Is he going to get the kill on the frostworm? Not quite. That's kind of harsh, because if Lucifer can actually heal up that frostworm again, that's 2 bats dead for nothing. 310 gold and probably about 80 wood. But ReMinD is still able to pump out these bats despite chugging away potions at the Voodoo Lounge. He still has enough resources to spend on consistent bats, but the rest of his army seems to be lacking somewhat. And another Dust of Appearance being used there, just keeping on top of it. He's not losing track. He's still got his mind in the game, and he's doing a great job so far. Really focused on what's going on. Lucifer looks like he's recuperating a little bit in the base. I do believe that frostworms, whilst air, do benefit from being on top of Blight, just like any other undead units do. So they will regenerate health. Oh, Blade Master did not want to do that. Look at that. Straight away loses a good 200 health just for that. But he is still quick enough, despite that slow attack, whilst wind walked, to run away and not be consistently focused. Now Lucifer's going to be picking off this Voodoo Lounge. He's had enough of it. He feels confident enough to move out into the middle of the map, and now he has a Pit Lord alongside. Pit Lord going to be used for Howl of Terror, which will reduce the damage that the enemy units will do. It's very effective, and he's actually used, strangely enough, a Scroll of Blight, a Blight Skull, just so he can regenerate a little bit here, maybe? Or maybe he was suspecting that he'll get into a fight, so this is an area where he can get just a little bit extra sort of regeneration. Every little counts here. And we can see that ReMinD wants to try to secure an expansion, but will he be able to get to the point where he can even keep it or get it in the first place? Lots and lots of skeletons coming in. Good chunks of potential experience, but Lucifer's also getting experience himself from picking off any other creeps nearby. Oh, that Blade Master so close to level 5. Level 4 Shadow Hunter, we can see he's sitting with Potion of Healing, Scroll of Speed, Mantle of Intelligence, Pendant of Energy, Blade Master, Invulnerability Pot, Rune Braces, Orb of Lightning, Potion of Healing, Boost of Speed, Circlet of Nobility, 2 Mantles of Intelligence for the level 5 Lich. And what is his DK? I can't quite get it. Level 4 Death Knight. He's backed up into the corner here. Oh, he's getting ready for the damage there. All of those bats coming in there. Couldn't even pick off a Frostworm. Maybe too many of them went on those Frostworms at the same time. Blade Master now forced to use Invulnerability Pot. Does look like Lucifer's only got 1 Frostworm left though. Bats still going strong, doing their job at the very least, despite having to use so many of them. Looks like Raiders next to go, but the Frostworm is about to be picked off there. Blade Master needs to stick on it a little bit longer. Can he do it before the next Death Coil comes out? Yes, he can. He's now being focused quite heavily. We still got 1 or so 2 heals potentially here for the Shadow Hunter, but ReMinD being forced back here because the undead heroes are still very strong at this point, alongside Orb of Corruption doing incredible damage. It's a really strong orb. In my opinion, by far the best orb in the game. And we're comparing this to things like Orb of Lightning, which is insanely good in its own right as well. Ah, he does still have a Frostworm. It was just hexed. It was just tiny. It goes from like that big to that big because of the hex effect. Oh, ReMinD does not want to lose any units at this point in the game. Everything counts. He's actually backing up into the shop here to pick up another Invulnerability Pot. That way his Blade Master can stay in the fight a little bit longer. Because when he gets focused, he doesn't want to have to run away, because every time he's running away, he's not getting to do any damage. Bats coming in here. He's trying to pick off the Frostworm. Coils going off on the Frostworms. Blade Master taking a lot of damage there. Invulnerability Pot no doubt going to be used any moment now just to keep him alive. There we go. Going very strong in that Lich. 228 crit there. Is there any more Death Coils left? I don't know if there is. There's 1 more Death Coil left. Blade Master now trying to pick off the... Oh no, he's going on the Pit Lord now. Switching his attacks to the Pit Lord. Pit Lord got a chunk of health, but it goes down very quickly to a level 5 Blade Master that gets the kill there. Hex used on the Death Knight just to seal the kill. Lucifer now forced to use Scroll of Teleport to get back, saving his Frostworm as well, just in case the ReMinD focused that Frostworm and maybe got a crit or 2 to pick it off. This is really good for ReMinD. That is not what Lucifer wanted. He was actually doing quite well there. In fact, he was in a position where he might have been able to take away the win. But ReMinD, now forcing Lucifer to back off, gets to keep this expansion for that bit longer, which will produce maybe a bat. Oh no, he's going to switch to Raiders, which would probably be a good choice of units, because we're getting to the point in the game where, as you can see, Lucifer's actually having to unsummon buildings in a desperate attempt for any extra cash to give this Lich some item. What is he going to pick up? I don't know what he's picking up with it, but everything counts. Everything. In fact, he's selling an item there. One of his Mantle of Intelligences. So is he going to pick up items from the shop? No, he got a Potion of Mana for his Death Knight. So he is absolutely broke right now. He's got nothing. He's unsummoned a whole chunk of units. He's got a couple of few Frostworms. That's not too bad. 3 Frostworms, a level 5 Lich, and a level 4 Death Knight. Meanwhile, ReMinD has a level 5.5 Blade Master, a level 4, soon to be level 5 Shadow Hunter, if he can get maybe 1 Frostworm kill, perhaps 2, and that's quite a big ask, because it's not easy to kill those Frostworms when they've got Frost Armor and Death Knight to support them. Now, Lucifer does not really want to have to fight with this tower in range, but ReMinD isn't giving him much of a choice. It looks like Lucifer's going to force ReMinD to come out of his base. He's picked all of his acolytes because we've got to that point in the game, like I've mentioned, where everything counts, and Lucifer cannot afford any more losses or any more setbacks, because there's not many buildings left to unsummon. Oh, he's picked off a Raider there. He's going to pick off a Headhunter as well. Does look like Hex is being used here on the Frostworms. That's good unit to use Hex on, definitely. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck there. ReMinD is just being picked off left, right and center here. Undead are very strong, especially at this point in the game. They can just pick off units with the Frost Novas and the Death Coils. But there is limited mana, and that Lich now only has 70 mana. The Death Knight only on 80 mana. But he does have a Brilliance Aura from the Kaka's Pipe of Insight. So Lucifer's lost basically nothing here apart from his mana, which can regenerate. Unfortunately, ReMinD has had to lose a chunk of units just to sort of keep Lucifer busy, enough to not destroy his base entirely. ReMinD coming in here on the Lich, backing off a little bit again. Headhunter being picked off. Blade Master going strong on the Death Knight. Death Knight taking a lot of damage. Shadow Hunter also taking damage in turn. Potion of Healing being used. Blade Master invulnerability being used. If you can get one crit, no. Death Knight now got the invulnerability part. We're going to see Death Coil. Oh, Death Coil denies the effects of Healing Wave. And Frostworms really going strong here on the Blade Master. Blade Master trying to desperately to return back to base. Potion of Healing being used. Might have been able to get one hit on that Death Knight. Not quite. Trying to go for it. Back coming in here. Used on the middle of those Frostworms. Just not enough. Lucifer actually looks like he's going to take this. And he actually swapped over the Mantle of Intelligence there. Just so his Death Knight can have just about enough mana to throw down another Death Coil. Wow. That is the power of Undead. This is Undead versus Orc. Orc are generally referred to as favoured in this matchup. But those Undead heroes and that Orb of Corruption, they tell a different story. Very well played by both there. Good job all. And if you enjoyed this video, you can always like it. Give it a thumbs up. That helps me out. And if you want to subscribe, you can do that. And I'll see you later.